All right, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably like, I thought I clicked on a video about how to be a fishing guide. Why the heck is this kid out in a cornfield? And the reason for that is I thought it'd be better for you to actually see what I'm doing rather than just me doing like a whiteboard thing the whole time. So I'm out here actually putting sign up today, and it goes just like this. You put it on this telephone pole, get a couple in the bottom just like that, and then that's pretty much it. And the result of that ends up being a sign right on the corner of a busy road right by a stop sign. So every person who pulls up there is going to see that. It's on the corner of a dirt road and like a main paved road. And that's basically just all I'm out here doing today. Just riding around with a staple gun and some, a stack of signs in the back of my truck. And yeah, that's all you do. You just ride around, put them up. But the rest of this video is going to be a like whiteboard style of me actually going further into depth about this stuff. Like I said, I just wanted to start the video off by me actually showing you me doing it instead of me just, sitting behind my computer and telling you about it, because now you're not just going to be like, oh wow, like Nate, that's a really nice theory about it, but you've never actually got out there and done that. And believe it or not, what I just showed you, I've actually put up over 1,200 of those exact signs. So yeah, and before a bunch of people get all worked up down in the comments, I just want to say it depends on where you're at with, the rules of putting signs out. Some areas are a lot more strict about it. Some areas are a little bit more lenient about it. This area that I'm in right now happens to be more lenient. But if somebody calls me and they're mad about the sign or a township or something like that, I go take it down, okay? So I'm not saying wherever you're at that you're allowed to do this. That's just a giant disclaimer. I'm just kind of showing you it's what I do. It's worked well for me. If people get mad, just don't be a moron and go take them down. So anyways, with that said, let's get into the more detailed part of the video. Okay, so you just saw me out putting up signs, but that's once we get to the advertising part. So let's rewind for a minute and start back, assuming that you're a complete beginner. All right, and that means you're at step one, which step one is the legal side of things. All right, and I'm gonna walk you through these 4 steps in like sequential order. So if you're already a little bit further along in your journey, then I guess you can skip ahead to where it gets more relevant, but we're starting at the very, very top, okay? So the legal side of things when it comes to charters. Let me just draw a quick little line over here. We'll make it orange. So orange, legal, okay. So a lot of times when people think of the legal side of things for fishing charters, they think like, oh, well, I got to go get my captain's license, right? And it's like, yes, you do obviously have to go do that. But what a lot of people forget is all of the work that goes into getting the captain's license, all the little things. And also there's more than just the captain's license that you need. So let's just start out at the very beginning from what I remember. And full disclosure here, I got my captain's license about 4 years ago. So things could have changed. I renew it next year because it renews every 5th year. So it has been a minute since I've went through the process, but assuming that most things have stayed the same, you're going to need a handful of things, one of which is sea time. So you're going to need sea time. And I'm not going to tell you the exact amount that you need because I'm sure it's probably bound to change, but basically you just need to prove that you've been on a vessel for, let's say it's 200 hours over the past 2 years or something like that. And if it's on your own vessel, then you can attest to that. If it's on somebody else's vessel, you just have to put down like their registration number. So in Michigan, it's MC numbers, and then they have to like sign off on it or whatever for you, saying that you actually did spend that sea time on their boat. So once you get sea time, then there's also the TWIC card that you need to go get. TWIC. And I forget what this stands for. I think it's transportation worker something. That's all I remember. But your TWIC card is like this little ID kind of, it looks like. And it's basically just something that people who work near like They use them too, I think, for like truckers and things like that. Don't quote me, but it's anyone who's working near like sensitive, like restricted areas or like by borders and stuff like that. They have to have them. So for captains, you're required to get one, which from what I remember is pretty simple. You basically just go down, they take your picture, they do whatever they do in the background, a background check, something like that, and then they mail it out. I got my TWIC card like way before, like 4 months before I got my captain's license. So you're gonna have to get that. And then there's the medical card. So you got to get your med card, which this came only slightly before my actual captain's license. So basically you have to go in, get this special Coast Guard physical, a special Coast Guard drug test. It's like a 7-panel drug test or something, I think it is. You can't just go get like a normal DOT drug test, like if you're gonna try to get your CDL to drive semis or something, because I have that too, and I've gotten my CDL med card, and it's completely different from getting your captain's license med card. It's a really, really specific thing that the Coast Guard looks for. So ideally you want to go to a doctor, like ask the doctor if they've done US Coast Guard physicals before. And if they say no, then not that you can't use them, but I would just recommend going with someone who has. So I found a doctor who did it. You have to go get it done, and then you send it off to the Coast Guard, and they check it out for you, and then they'll send you your med card. Like for me, I got it about, like I said, a little bit before I got my actual captain's license. And all it is it's like it's not even really like a license. It's just kind of like a piece of paper that they print off, but it's like a thick note card type material. And then it says that like you're good until like whenever the expiration date is, and then you have to go renew it or whatever. So we've got C-Time, TWIC card, med card, and then that is pretty much the 3 main things when it comes to, I mean, obviously there's so much other stuff that the Coast Guard asks for to get your captain's license, but the things that people tend to get hung up on when I'm talking to students in my program or whatever, it tends to be these 3 things, and those will get you closer to your captain's license. I will write the whole thing out there. You can fill in the rest. So there's that. So you get that done. Okay, cool. And now you're forgetting about the rest of it, which is boat insurance. So we've got, boat insurance. And then you have to have, liability, I won't write the whole thing out. Liability insurance. A lot of times this can kind of, like for me, my boat insurance and liability insurance is like on the same policy. So they could technically be just one thing, but I have them listed here as 2 separate things. So, and it needs to be commercial. So it needs to be a commercial marine insurance policy. Okay. And, you know what, I'm not even going to say like the company I use or anything because it's specific to Michigan. So depending where you're watching this at, but I pay about, at the time of this recording, $700 a year. And I have my policy set up so that I start charters on April 1st and end charters on November 30th because I don't use my boat during the winter because I'm in Michigan and it gets cold and icy and stuff like that. So I basically have like 4 months, it's called layup period, where they don't charge you for the insurance essentially. So yeah, I have that. And then, for those of you who don't know, I run a 17-foot Lund Alaskan, 16 feet 10 inches if you want to be particular. And then, so it's not like it's some like massive yacht or something that they're insuring. So the value of it is relatively low compared to a lot of saltwater boats and stuff. And then you just have to have a minimum of $100,000 liability in the state of Michigan, at least. That's what our DNR looks like, or looks for. So yeah, off the top of my head, that's the main things when it comes to insurance that I can think of. And just for rough ballpark numbers for you when you're looking and getting quotes and stuff, like I said, the information I just gave you, I pay about $700 a year for that. So for what that's worth. And also, oh yeah, this is a big thing when it comes to insurance. If you are, that would be the wrong way. if you are under the age of 21 years old, which I'm 21 now, so it's fine. But when I was getting started and I was 18, it was pretty difficult to get anyone to insure me. Like, a lot of companies look, and when they see that you're, not 21, they don't like that, especially if you just turned 18. Like for me, I got my captain's license like 5 days after I turned 18. So yeah, the insurance companies don't really like that. So a lot of them would just tell me no. So I basically had to get down on my knees and beg these people to give me something. I was going all over the place looking for someone who would insure me. And I finally found a company and they were willing to do it. So yeah, and I've actually been with them ever since because they were good, but now that I'm 21, I could probably find a better deal on insurance. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that if you're under 21, you're probably gonna have some trouble with insurance. Okay, I think that's the main thing when it comes to the legal side of things. You do these main things for your captain's license, you gotta get your boat insurance, and then obviously, actually, you know what, we will put this in here, state stuff. So like I said, I'm in Michigan, depends where you're at, but you're probably gonna have state permits, state licenses. I know the guys in Florida, they have to get, certain permits and it's all kinds of crazy stuff down there. Up here, I have to pay like $16 a year for a sport troll license, it's called, and it just basically lets me legally fish for lake trout, which is just a really weird thing. I don't know why you need a specific license to fish for lake trout, but you do. And then, here they do biannual inspections. So like the conservation officer will come out every 2 years. It's called a dockside inspection. So without getting, I could go on a huge tangent about this, but try to give you the quick summary here. So every 2 years, a conservation officer, a CO, will come and do a dockside inspection, it's called, which is your boat's in the water at the dock. They check to make sure you have things like safety equipment, life jackets, fire extinguishers, in some cases like EPIRBs, stuff like that. Make sure that your boat's good to go for taking passengers for hire. So that's every 2 years. And then every 5 years in Michigan, we get what's called dry dock inspection. And the dry dock is where the guy comes to, I guess in my case, it was in a garage, but he came to the garage, looked at the boat while it was on the trailer, and he looks for stuff like making sure, which again, this is kind of Michigan specific, but like we have to have 2 bilge pumps. So there was that, which when I was first getting started, I didn't, so I had to put in the other one. He checks and makes sure like battery terminals are not open and exposed. So like he looks for slightly different things than the conservation officer does, but that's all state stuff, which like I said, it's gonna vary which state you're in, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. Okay, so that's all of your legal stuff for the most part. Like I said, there's some other little things that you might be like, oh wait, but like what about this? And yes, there is more. But this would be a 5-hour long video if I got into every single little thing you need to do. But basically this is it, and you can expect it to take, oh, actually, you know what? I kind of forgot about this. You need some schooling. You need sea school. So this is like the actual training program that you have to go through to get your captain's license, where, if you've already got it, then you know what I'm talking about. It's like the navigation general, dock general, rules of the road, like it's that sort of stuff. And for me, I went to a program called Sea School. I did it all online. They gave me my little certificate or whatever, took the test. I think the whole thing took me about 6 weeks to just do the schooling part. But this whole rest of this stuff that the U.S. Coast Guard requires you to do in order to finish getting your captain's license, that's the stuff that takes a long time. Like that'll probably be like 6 months. So like Sea School, that's what people think of when they think of getting their captain's license, just going to the classes and stuff, which I would highly recommend doing it online, unless you're a old timer. Try not to offend anyone here, and you prefer to learn in person, then that's fine. Go find a class. Just for me, I actually did sea school while I was in high school. So I remember my second hour class was, it was like a nutrition or something. And I was able to go to the library for it. And I remember just that whole class every day, I'd just sit in the back of the library and just knock out a bunch of my sea school coursework. So I basically took my captain's license training while I was in high school, but that was a huge perk to me doing it online. So if you're young enough and you understand technology, just do it online, dude, trust me. But anyways, yeah, so there's that, all this stuff. It'll take you about 6 months or so. I think I started mine on November 6th of whatever year that was, 2021 or something. And then the day I actually got my captain's license in the mail was sometime in April or something like that, by the time everything was all said and done. So rough timeline. Again, I'm sure it'll depend on your situation, but that's the legal stuff. All right. Whew. I know that was a lot, but that seems to be where people get stuck on the most, is like this whole legal thing. So next, let's talk about step 2, which is, here, let me get rid of this, your offer. So your offer is what you need in order to have any sort of business after you get all of the legal stuff done. Now, in Michigan, I wasn't even allowed to advertise at all until I had all of my legal stuff done. Like, it was very clear. The state and stuff was like, you cannot advertise charters until you have your captain's license. And I'm like, dang, okay. Because that set me so far behind. I could have been doing all this advertising beforehand. But yeah, so anyways, that sucks. So if you don't have to wait, don't wait. Start advertising before all the legal stuff is done, doing like a pre-launch. But the 3 things that you need for a successful offer in a fishing charter business is pretty much 3 things. Okay, so first, you want to have a lead magnet or an attraction offer, a lead magnet. Second, you want to have a guarantee. And third, you want to have a premium. Oh my goodness, my handwriting's so bad. A premium price. Okay, those are the 3 things that you need to think of. Like, you're sitting there with your captain's license in your boat and you're like, okay, now what? This is what, okay? You think of a lead magnet, you pick a guarantee, and you have a premium price, okay? Now let me explain each thing. First off, lead magnet. So when it comes to lead magnets, a lead magnet is basically something that makes your core offer more attractive, all right? And fundamentally, every fishing guide's core offer is you telling the millions of people in a marketplace, hey, I will take you fishing in exchange for money, or I will take you fishing if you agree to pay me money. Fundamentally, that is every fishing guide's core offer. But that doesn't sound very good if you're just were to advertise that or tell people that. So you got to kind of dress it up and put it in a cool wrapping paper. So that's what we call a lead magnet. And basically what that is, it's something more attractive to get people to say yes to your thing. And this is especially important when you're first starting, because especially if you're in a competitive area, why should people say yes to you over the competition? Now that's a topic for another video when it comes to competition and stuff like that. I really don't think fishing guides have as much competition as they think they do, but anyways. So an example of a lead magnet would be, all right, I'll just give you a quick one here. 90% off fishing charter gift cards. And then you'd advertise that and everybody'd be like, oh my goodness, he's giving away 90% off fishing charter gift cards. And it would be like, yes, but the catch is it's only for $100. So you pay me $10, I'll give you or send you a digital gift card that's good for my charter business for $100 off. And they're like, oh, okay, so I give you a $10 bill, I get $100 in credit. Sounds like a no-brainer to me. Boom. So they buy that gift card, and then you set an expiration date on it, like, hey, you have to use it within 6 months or it expires. So you say that up front. Now let's say your fishing charter costs $900. So then what happens is they have to come up with the remaining $800. So they have the $10 that they paid for the gift card plus the $800 that they have to pay for the remaining of the $900 trip. Hopefully you're following the math here. So what that means is that they paid you $810 for a $900 trip, which means that it's only $90 off your full price, or 10%. So your big core, attractive thing over here is 90% off. So you're telling everybody 90% off gift cards, okay? That's important to say, not 90% off charters, it's 90% off fishing charter gift cards. And the catch is that they can only go up to $100. So what this does is it lets you have this super attractive thing that gets a bunch of people's attention, and this crushes, especially around Christmas time, like lethal, absolutely lethal. When I did this, I booked like 43 trips in like 2 weeks at Christmas. Like it can be crazy. But then what happens is when people go to book, it's only 10% off. So like, it's not like you're losing that much money, okay? So you're losing $90. Now, if you're gonna be a stickler over losing $90, then I don't know what to tell you, but for the amount of business that it brings you, it's definitely worth it. But if you were just to tell people, hey, 10% off a fishing charter, they're gonna be like, yeah, dude, I don't really care. And if they don't redeem the gift card, worst case scenario, they don't redeem the gift card, you get a little extra pocket change from the $10 that you just get to keep. So it's a win-win scenario. I have not saw this offer not just absolutely crush yet. So that's an example of a lead magnet. There's lots of other ones that are like this. That are just like creative, cool ways that you can get a bunch of clients fast, which if you're interested in that at all, check out the link in the description below this video. It'll take you to a page for my program. It's called Captain Skool, and it's basically where I show people how to either start their fishing charter business from scratch and grow it, or if you already have an existing business, then we can scale it from there. I've worked with people from literally just starting to people who've been doing it for decades, so it doesn't matter. So anyways, that's in the description below. But the next thing, after you have this big attractive offer, then, okay, we'll put a check mark. You did that. Now you want to have a guarantee to give them, okay? So a lot of people will do like satisfaction guarantee or something like that, or even a step up from that would be like no fish, no pay guarantee. But I don't like either of those, and let me tell you why. A satisfaction guarantee is like you go to the store, you buy a thing of milk, and it says 100% satisfaction guaranteed. It doesn't tell you like or what. It doesn't have okay, what if I'm not satisfied? Then what happens? It doesn't have an or statement. Now, a common guarantee that I have people, or that I see people run in the fishing charter industry, is they do no fish, no pay. Well, that sucks because we can't force the fish to bite. So if you have a day where the fishing sucks and you don't catch any fish, then you just don't get paid, and your time is worth something. You don't want to just be out on the water for free. So that kind of sucks. So that's why the best guarantee that I've found is guaranteed fish, and it's too much for me to write out. So just listen to what I'm saying right now. Guaranteed fish, or your next trip is free. And that's perfect because you're guaranteeing them the result. And I've personally used this in my own business. It's not just something that I'm making up here. You're guaranteeing, hey, you will catch fish, or I'll give you another trip for free. So what this does is it guarantees you get paid. No matter if you catch 100 fish or 0 fish, you're still getting paid for that trip. What would happen is, and it's happened to me about 3 times in my entire career, I've only not caught fish on like 3 trips. And none of those people have taken me up on the free trip offer because they're just like, oh, we had a great time, like, thank you, we appreciate it. And I always tell them, I'm like, hey, which this is another thing, make sure you put a limit on it. I'm like, hey, you have until the end of the year to book another trip. I owe you one, it's on me for free, but you only have till the end of the season. Okay, again, put a limit on it. You don't want to just leave things free floating out in the air. And no one's ever taken me up on it. So what all this does basically is helps you close people, which we'll talk more about that later. But all this does is when people are hesitating to book with you, you just tell them, hey, I have a guarantee that if you don't catch any fish, I give you another trip completely for free. And then they're like, oh, okay, like this guy's so confident he's gonna catch fish that I'll do it for free. And then it helps you book more trips up front. So having a guarantee, it's super, super important. Now, a premium price is probably the opposite of what a lot of guys think that you need to be doing. They're like, which I was just talking to this guy in Wisconsin, one of my students, and he's like, oh, it's so hard to compete on price around here because there's guys that are doing full day trips for like $250. And I'm like, you don't have to compete on price when you're running, stuff like this. This is the kind of things, these are the kind of offers. When you have a good lead magnet, your price doesn't matter because I bet you the other guy's not doing 90% off of his $200 trip. You know what I mean? It's not happening. So when you have a premium price, remember, you can always come down, but you can't go up. So yeah, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse with that. Just have a premium price. I would go as far to say you want to be the most expensive person around. So much so that it makes people question, like, wow, this guy is so much more expensive. He must be doing something different. And all it takes is slight little tweaks to what you're doing to make it seem like an entirely uncomparable offer that no one else in the market is doing. So have a premium price because you can always come down. You can never go up on it. And trust me, it just makes you more money in the end. When I started, I was at $350. Then I went to $400. Then I went to $500. Then I went to $600. Guess what? Nothing changed about my offer, and nothing really changed about the way people responded to it. They just handed me more $100 bills at the end of the trip. Okay, like it sounds selfish, it sounds greedy, like whatever, but if you're in it to make money, I'm telling you, having a premium price is worth it. So that's premium pricing. So that is pretty much your entire offer stack. Okay, and again, we can go into more detail on this. If you want to have a chat about it, I'll walk you through it if you contact me. Anyways, so we covered legal, we covered your offer. What's next? Getting leads. So getting leads, this is like the captains who get their business started and then they think they create an offer even though it's not a great offer because it doesn't follow the three things that we just talked about. They do that and then they will get stuck on this lead getting step 3 for years, literally years. This is where they'll get stuck. And they just don't know how to get out. It's like this terrible rut. So let me show you over here how you get leads. Now, one of which, probably my favorite way that's gotten me the most, let's not make it so big. Probably my favorite way that's gotten me the most leads over the years is signs, like you saw at the beginning of this video, of me just going out and about, putting up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and at this point, over 1,000 signs, just on telephone poles, stick them in the ground, whatever, don't break the law. This is not me telling you to do this. I take no responsibility for any legal trouble that you get in from doing it. I'm just saying, if you are willing to take a little risk and you don't think that the law enforcement around your area cares, and if you want, you can ask, okay? You can ask. Or another way to get around it, just don't put it on telephone poles and just do yard signs. Ask permission, put it in people's yards. Just don't use an excuse. You can find a way to get signs out, even if it's not on telephone poles, okay? But it works so well because drive-by traffic is really, really important. Think about, I'm thinking right now about the area that all of my signs are spread out across about 100 miles, okay? And I'm thinking about all the traffic right now as I'm talking to you, as I'm making this video. There's cars driving by probably every single one of my signs. So I'm basically making thousands of impressions per minute, okay? Think about that, thousands of impressions per minute. And obviously they're not all interested in charters. They might not all notice it. They might, whatever. But just the fact that your business is getting in front of that many people is insane, okay? It's insane. And I would highly recommend that for anybody. Now, I'm gonna go with a little bit more of an advanced strategy for this next one that it may be a little bit advanced for where you're at right now, but it kind of ties in with signs. So it's a giveaway. So what you do is you run a giveaway. and you say, hey, if you want to win a free fishing trip with me, enter this giveaway. And it needs, actually, yeah, it should be free, because if you require people to pay for it, then it could be considered an illegal lottery, and obviously you don't want legal complications. And you don't want to call it a raffle, because then you might need a raffle permit. So just do a free giveaway, okay? People enter into this giveaway to win a free fishing charter with you. There's no reason they wouldn't do it. All they have to do is give you their email, phone number, and name, basically, so that you can contact them. So then what happens, you can say limit 100 tickets. All right, so 100, let's do this over here. So 100 ticket limit, or cap, 100 limit, 100 ticket cap. So bam, 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 you give it away, limit 1 ticket per person, so you have 100 different leads. Then after the giveaway is over, and you can do this giveaway anywhere. You can post it on your social media. You can, if you don't have enough people on social media, you could find a local business. That's what I did. I just printed out a flyer, put the flyer on the counter at a convenience store. All the people that are coming in and buying beer, wine, liquor, cigarettes, pizza, candy, they were seeing it. They were opting into the giveaway. I had my 100 tickets out in about 2 weeks. So then what you do is you call one person and they win the grand prize, the free trip, because that's what you're advertising. So then what happens is, and this is where it gets crazy, second prize. Dun, dun, dun. Second prize is 50% off, half off. Okay, so you charge $1,000 for a fishing charter, they get it for $500. But, you ready for this? 99 people get second prize. Because it's not second place, it's second prize. So one person wins the big grand thing that you were advertising to get people to enter the giveaway in the first place, then everybody else gets second prize, or a participation prize, or however you want to call it. The point is, you offer it to all 99 other people. And then a lot of people have never won anything in a giveaway before. So they're like super excited. They're like, no way, I won something. And you say, yep, all you got to do is by Friday, send over the remaining $500, and I'll send you over a gift card back that's good to use for a free trip anytime in the next 6 months. And for me, I noticed about half of the people, about half the people, because I had a few people that somehow snuck in a family member, they got an extra entry, blah, blah, blah. So it was like 40-something people that ended up taking me up on the offer and booking a trip. So 50% book. So then you collect all that cash up front, which is really nice too, because you can collect like thousands of $1,000 like fast. So then you are like, well, I don't want to run trips for 50% off. Don't worry, because say 50 people got your thing for 50% off, so 50 people for 50% off. What I noticed in my business, and what I've noticed for other captains, and when I've helped them run this offer in their business, is only about half of those actually redeem it. So about 25 out of the 50 redeem it for half off. So are you picking up what I'm laying down here? That when you get 50 people to pay 50% and then only half of them take you up on it, that's like 2x. It is 2x. 25 times 2 is 50. So what I'm trying to get at here, if you're following the math, is that your margin, your profit, ends up being like normal. Like you end up making per trip, you end up making more. Like, let's just do simple math here. So let's say you normally charge $100 for a trip and 10 people get a gift card for $50. All right, so 10 people get a gift card for $50. That means that you made $500 from those 10 people. But then when only half, so only 5 redeem it, that means that your per trip, so 500 divided by 5 equals 100. So you were on average making $100 a trip, and that was your original price over here is $100. So it's just math. You don't have to be afraid of it. It works, and it absolutely crushes. I wouldn't recommend doing this right off the bat, though, just because it's a little bit more complex. But the reason I wanted to mention it was because if you're telling me like, well, I live in a busy area. I live in Miami. I live in Austin, Texas. I live in LA. Even just a town with, a bigger town that I probably have never heard of, they might be pretty strict on the signs. Like pretty much unless you live out in the country, or not live, because it doesn't matter where you live, but if you're not putting up signs out in the country and stuff, in farmers' fields, like that's my favorite areas to put them. If you're not doing that, then you're probably going to get in trouble if you're putting them in a city or something like that. So if you're telling me I can't do that, then this is your thing. You do the sign giveaway combo. Okay, you combine these two strategies into one, and it's deadly. It's absolutely deadly. Because what you do is you reach out to a bunch of people that you know, whether they're in your contacts, whatever the case is, and you say, hey, I'm getting my fishing charter business started. Can I put up out a sign in your yard? If you let me keep it there for, say, 3 months, or for the summer, or for the winter, or whatever, I'll enter you into a giveaway to win a free fishing charter with me. A lot of people say yes, and if they say no, no worries. And it's also a lot more like legally acceptable to have a yard sign than it is to be putting on utility poles and stuff. But so you do that, so then you find 100 people who will let you put a sign in their yard, which you're already winning because now you have signs all over people's yards in different neighborhoods and stuff, which guaranteed is going to book you quite a lot of trips. But then on top of that, all those people that let you put their signs in your yard, and you can even go knock on doors to strangers. Now, I've never done that, so I can't sit here and tell you to do something that I've never done, but you could go ask strangers to do this, okay? So there's no excuse to not do it, and then the 100 people who let you put the sign in their yard, you do the same giveaway process, give one a free trip, everyone else gets second prize, boom, bang, boom, convert half of them, 50%, 25 take you up on it, 500 divided by 5. You get the point. The math, it works out, it's lethal, it crushes, trust me. Now, if that just sounded like a lot and your mind is spinning, then don't worry, I have an easier way for you to get your first handful of clients, for sure your first 10, maybe more, and it's just outreach. It's all you got to do. Outreach. If you're not sure what outreach is, you can either do warm outreach, which is people who know you, or you can do cold outreach, which is people who don't know you. Now, for the sake of this, you're probably gonna do warm outreach, and that is anyone that you have on your phone, like SMS texting, regular messages, anyone that you have in your DMs that know you on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and you could do it on basically in person. Yeah. So let's say IRL. So this is just telling people about it. Text them, DM them on social media, tell them about it in real life, word of mouth, warm outreach, okay? And then all you do is you just tell them, hey, I'm starting up my fishing charter business. Lead magnet. Whoops. Then you present your offer. So during your outreach, you just do outreach, tell your people about the offer that you just made. Hey, I'm just starting my fishing charter business. I guarantee fish or your next trip's free. I'm currently doing a special 90% off Christmas gift cards to do a winter kickoff for my business, whatever. You tell them that. And odds are you probably know these people pretty good, so you're not going to want to be salesy at all. You're just going to want to talk to them like a real human being person, and then you can ask them if they're interested, or the really ninja Jedi way to do it is don't even ask them if they're interested. When you're reaching out to just people, say, do you know anyone who would be interested? Because then it doesn't seem like you're asking them. And a lot of times they'll be like, yeah, me, I would be interested. So that's another way to do it. All right, but outreach is probably the best way to get your first 10 clients if you're just getting started. Then you can get into these more advanced strategies. All right, and obviously you could post content. That's another way to advertise content, like this YouTube video right now. The reason I'm making it is because I want to give you free value so that you can grow your fishing charter business and be like, wow, that guy Nate knows what he's talking about. I want to know more and learn from him more. And then you go check out my Captain Skool program, and then we can work together, and then I can really help you grow your business. So that's what I'm doing right now, making content to advertise. And then another one, which I hate, is ads. And if you've done ads successfully before, you're going to think that I'm a psychopath. If you can do ads profitably, more power to you. But the guys that I've saw really crushing it with ads are the guys that are doing, having massive operations. They're doing, 20 to 100,000 a month, like massive revenue numbers. They're running multiple boats, fleets. Like I was just talking to a guy down in Miami, and he was doing like 50,000 a month in revenue, and his main source of getting clients was from ads. And like that's great if you can crush and have a bigger budget. I don't know what his ad budget was, but for the guys that are just getting started out, like I'm assuming if you're watching this video this far, you're probably in your early days as a fishing guide. I would say ads are probably not the way to go. I mean, I did them, I've tried them a lot of times, and I've got them to kind of work, but never nearly as much as this other stuff. So I'd put ads on the wayside for right now. All right. So that's pretty much how you're going to get leads. Now, the last part, step 4, is management. So what exactly is management? What do I mean by that? Well, let me draw you a little line and I'll show you. So after you've went through everything else, you've done the work, you've done the legal stuff, you created your offer, you got your first handful of leads. Congratulations, you now have a legitimate fishing charter business. Now, there's 3 things that I like to, it's kind of like my management framework. And it might not make sense to you if you're still in your early days, especially if you haven't even got your license yet. But if you're a little further in your journey, or when you are further in your journey, you'll remember this and you'll be like, oh yeah, like I know what he's talking about now. But this is my framework. Design, automate, and optimize. So design, automate, optimize. 1, 2, 3. And let me break each one of these things down for you. So designing means design your business in a way that like you actually want to run it. So for example, like you need to set goals and just so you know what to do, because there's a great saying that I love, which is if you don't take the time to design your time, you're never going to have time to do the things you want to do, because you're always going to be too busy doing all the things you have to do. Okay? Like hopefully that hit for you, because when I heard that for the first time, it really hit. So you need to design, you need to be like, all right, I wanted my first year or my first, by my second year, whatever it is, I want to do 50 trips or 100 trips, or I want to make, 20K, or I want to make 50K, like whatever your goals are, set goals and then think, okay, reverse engineer to it. How am I going to get there? Instead of just saying, I want to run 50 trips in the next 365 days, think, okay, how much, okay, I'm gonna kind of go a little bit more macro here. Hopefully you don't mind. If you think about it from a time perspective and you think, this is one I hear all the time. A lot of people want to go full-time with their fishing charter business, believe it or not. Now, if you want to do it part-time, that's great. Like, that's fine. I recommend doing that first. But the people who want to go full-time, I'm like, okay, so you're telling me like you want to spend 40 hours a week on your fishing charter business. And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, cool. You can do that right now. You can do that right now. And they're like, well, I don't have enough clients to do that. And I'm like, okay, how many trips are you currently running in a week? Well, I'm running 1 trip a week. Okay, so 4 trips a month. How long are your trips? 4 hours plus drive time and, getting prepped. Okay, so an hour total in prep and drive time, is that probably fair? Yeah, okay, so you have about 5 hours per trip in all-in cost, okay? An all-in time cost. And 4 of those per month means you have what? I mean, we can do the math here. It's 5 times 4 is 20. So you're spending 20 hours per month on your fishing charter business. And if you want to be spending 40 hours a week or whatever, 160 hours a month, so 160 minus 20, so you have an extra 140 hours to spend on your business. And they're like, I know, but what do you mean I can't get enough clients? I mean, spend the other 140 hours doing these other things that we talked about. Making your offer, and most of the time it's going to be getting leads, okay? Because making your offer, you can get all of that done in literally 1 day, but just get leads, okay? Do these things. All of your time should be spent doing stuff like this: outreach, make content, Do the sign and giveaway strategy. Do just the signs. Do just a giveaway. Run ads if you want. There's so many ways to get clients, but that's what you need to be spending all of your time on until, think of it like a teeter-totter. Let me just draw it out for you here real quick, okay? Think of it like a teeter-totter. And on this side, actually, it wouldn't be level like that. So let's do it unlevel. So at the beginning, your teeter-totter looks like this, okay? All of your time needs to be spent on leads, okay? That's where, so like, this is the weight pressing down on the teeter-totter. All of your time needs to be spent on leads. And over here is, the upward pressure, which is actual trips, because at the beginning, you're not running any trips. So then as time goes on and, so let's just abbreviate L for leads, T for trips, okay? So now this would be like you're running, let's do it on a weekly basis instead of going monthly because the numbers are bigger. So now let's say your 40-hour-a-week goal. Here, you're spending 20 hours on getting leads and you're spending 20 hours a week out, actually running fishing trips, doing the delivery side of your business. So that's at an equilibrium. You're spending equal amount of time getting leads as you are on your business. And now here would be like to the other hypothetical end of the extreme, which is, trips are all of your time and leads are none of your time, okay? So this is, burn this into your mind, this teeter-totter thing, okay? Level 1, when you're at the beginning, it looks like this. You need to spend all your time on leads because you have no trips. After a while, when more of your time starts getting taken up by running trips, you spend less time getting leads, you're at an equilibrium. And then eventually, after word of mouth spreads and you've been doing it long enough, for me, it took about about 2 years to really get to this point. And now I spend no time getting leads because it's all just from advertising I've already done, word of mouth, brand recognition, things like that. And well, I shouldn't say no time advertising, but very, very little, like minimal. And then all of the time is just on delivery, actual like running trips. That's it, okay? But a lot of people, they get stuck in like these first two and they don't realize that they could be, this whole time you're, 40 hours a week are getting spent here, 40 hours a week are getting spent here, 40 hours a week are getting spent here. Both situations, 40 hours a week. But what people don't understand is that you can spend a ton more time than you probably are on getting leads, okay? So that's design. I know that might be a little bit deep for some of you, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, next is automation, okay? So now once you get to this point where all of your time is being taken up by running trips, now you kind of don't have control over this number unless you're putting a hard cap on it and you're like, no, I'm only running, whatever the math would be on that, 8 trips a week or something like that. If you're like, no, I'm only running 8 trips a week, then you could do that to keep it at 40. Or if you want your revenue to keep growing, then you would be like, well, how can I get to from 8 trips a week to 10 trips a week to add more revenue? And I don't want to add any more time. I don't want to spend any more time on the business. Okay, well, you're going to have to automate some things, which means anything that is taking time from your fulfillment of the trip. So think about everything from when someone calls you to book a trip, you're spending time on the phone, closing them, 20-minute phone calls. I've had hour-long phone calls. That's time spent that's involved in the trip, okay? Then you have to follow up with them maybe a couple times to get them to book. Then you have to send reminders about the trip coming up. Then maybe you have to, go out and catch bait. Like for me, I have to go out and catch bait a lot during the summer. Then you have to drive an hour to the boat dock maybe. Then you have to clean the fish. Then you have to clean the boat afterwards. Then you have to tie up for the, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot that goes into it. And you think if you advertise a 4-hour fishing charter, do not figure your hourly rate or your just don't think that that's all that goes into it is the trip, because there's a lot of other things that you need to account your time for. So what you start doing is you start automating all the things that you possibly can, basically, which is things like invoices. So at the time of this recording, I'm using a company called Guidesly. So it allows for online booking. It allows for automated trip reminders. So I haven't sent a trip reminder in a couple of years, okay? It allows for reviews, automatically asks for reviews. Before I'd have to, remember to send reviews, ask for reviews, follow up about it. Nope, now it's just automated. I don't have to think about it. The system automatically does it. Then there's, obviously other things. I'll just put etc. here, but there's, the invoices, the reviews, the reminders, the follow-ups, the just everything that goes into it. A lot of it you can automate. All right. So automate as much as possible to save yourself time so that you can not spend more time than you want to. So time down, revenue up. Okay, that's the goal. So we automate. And then step 3, optimize. That's when you start to get a little bit deeper. And this isn't going to probably apply to most of you, but once you get to a certain point in your charter business, you kind of realize, like, when you're first starting, you see this mountain and you think that, hey, if I climb this mountain, like, I'm going to achieve something. And this is you being all happy thinking 50 trips a year is all you want. Like, you've made it if you do that. But then I'll tell you, once you get there, you realize that there's another mountain to climb, like, because then you start setting new goals for yourself, and you start to, realize that things progress. Okay. So the goalpost is never ending. It's always going to be moving. So you have to really ask yourself some really deep questions. And this probably won't come until you've been doing this for a couple of years, till you reach the peak of your first mountain, your first goal that you set from doing all of these other things that we talked about here. Like, you have a lot of work to do at first, but one day, okay? One day, I hope you remember this, you will think to yourself and you'll be like, man, what now? And the thing that happened with me is I started being like, all right, I mistakenly, I wouldn't say mistakenly, but I developed a passion for business more than fishing. So it started out, I just was like, dude, I love fishing and I want to make a living from it. And business is just like this byproduct of it. Like, I kind of have to get good at business in order to, be able to fish for a living. But then what happened is, over time, I started to fall in love with the game of business. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I actually like business more than I like the fishing. Not that I don't like fishing anymore. It's just that I like business way more than fishing. So business now became like my new hobby. So every time that I was creating a new advertising campaign, or thinking of a new lead magnet, or thinking of a new sales process, like I would literally have a script on the back of my phone, so that as I'm on the call, I'm like looking, I'm like, oh yeah, like following this framework to like sell them into the trip. Like, I got obsessed with business stuff and I fell in love with that. So then all of a sudden, the actual trip, being out on the boat part and fishing, wasn't the fun part to me. It was everything that led up to getting the person on the boat, which that's what led me to starting Captain Skool and everything. So I'm like, wow, I can just focus on helping other people grow their business that would prefer to be out on the water fishing, and I can just develop their business systems, which is the part I love anyways. So enough on that. But whether this probably won't be you. You probably will like fishing a lot for a long time. But what I'm saying is, something will come up like this where you aren't expecting it right now. And then what this had me do, once I realized I love business so much, is I'm like, all right, well, I'm starting Captain Skool, which this was about 1.5 years ago now. I started Captain Skool. So that was a byproduct, but I'm like, well, I still want to be involved in my fishing charter business. So what I did is I was just running repeat client trips. So I was just running repeat client trips for like the last year. So it was just, repeat clients. It was just people who went with me before for my first like 3 years of being in business. And then I started doing like a little trial, which, again, this is all tying into optimization. You're just always going to be optimizing your business. So I'm like, all right, I want to test out this affiliate thing. So affiliate, I'll just abbreviate it, affil. So I'm like, all right, so spring this year, I started, actually it was like last winter, I started working with another captain, and we were kind of like trying to figure out this process of, all right, how can we work together in a way that mutually benefits both of us and that's easy for both of us. So then we spent like the past year developing this massive system that works amazing. We got our scripts down. We know how to transfer clients. We know how to work together. It's basically like he's a captain for my business, except he has his own guide service also. So bringing another captain in-house was something I never would have expected in the early days, but it just comes later when you start optimizing. And one of the main reasons that I started with the affiliate thing was because I was falling in love with the business side again. So again, I identified this passion for business, and then I'm like, okay, well, Captain Skool allows me to help other captains with their business. And then doing this affiliate thing allows me to keep my current fishing charter business, Michigan Hunting All Fishing Charters, and just focus on growing the brand, growing the advertising, and things like that. And then I can just have another captain actually do the fulfillment and run the trips for me, kind of like a relief captain for you guys in the South that are familiar with that. And then I can make money from it, from setting up the trip. He can make money from running the trip, and it's just a really good mutual thing. So I wanted to test that first while I was doing the repeat clients. And I'm still in this phase at the time of making this video, but what I see coming down the roadmap, looking off into the sunset, pretend this is me looking down the road at the sunset. Anyways, I see myself going all in on these two things, affiliates and Captain Skool. And then I probably won't be running my own trips for much longer because I've found these two things, for the amount of time I put in, I have more leverage to get a higher output out. So when you're thinking of it from a revenue perspective and things like that, you can only optimize your time out on the water so much before you start, you just can't get any more optimized between like if somebody books a 4-hour trip, you know you're at least having 4 hours in that trip. Whereas like the affiliate side of things, like, well, shoot, I can get my time to basically down to like 10 minutes per booking. And then when you're making a couple $100 per referral out, it's like, oh, okay, now all of a sudden my hourly rate is way higher. So I think the same thing with Captain Skool. So it's like, my point is that that is what optimization is, okay? So when you get into this management thing, like, let me just give you another little, we'll give a quick rundown here. So the design is actually figuring out what you want, design your time, follow this teeter-totter ideology method here. That's the design thing. Then once you get that figured out and you probably get to this stage, which is where, don't move on from design until you get to this stage, until you aren't advertising anymore and you're just running trips. Then once you're there, you start automating. You automate everything you can, invoices, reviews, etc., all the other things I talked about. Then you're like, okay, I'm at my max capacity for amount of time that I want to spend, but I want to keep making more money. How can I do it? Well, then you move into optimization. And it's hard for me to tell you exactly what that's going to be, but it leads into other things. You can start doing more affiliates. So like you can keep spending 40 hours a week on your business. Once you have it all the way automated as much as you can't possibly get any more out for what you're putting in. So then you start sending your overflow clients to another captain and do a 20% commission deal. So boom, your revenue shoots up. Now you're making more money with less time. Like, I know it sounds crazy right now, but that's what the design, automate, optimize framework is. So yeah, just a little quick synopsis here, little summary. If you've stuck with me this long, also, like, congratulations to you, because you made it through however long this video is. And just, if you use anything that I said in this video, it's going to give you a return on the investment from the last however long you've been spending with me. I promise. There's absolutely no reason it should happen. So like, these are the core things. Do not get confused by them. Do not think that it's overly complicated. You just have to get the legal stuff done. Once you do that, you make your offer. Once you do that, you focus on getting leads until you don't need any more leads and all of your time is taken up by delivering the service. Then you start focusing on management, and that takes you into your next phase, your next journey, whatever that is for you. So that is it. If you made it to the end of the video, I actually want to hear from you. So like, contact me. Like, even if you don't think that you want to be a part of Captain Skool or anything like that, if you go to that page and you'll be able to fill out a form, and then I'll call you and no hard feelings if you don't want to join the program. But like I said, if you made it this far, there's no way that you're not super interested in fishing charter stuff. So yes, I want to talk to you. Yes. All right. That's it. I don't think there's anything else. Thanks for sticking with me this long. I hope to talk soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.